Here with Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is Bobby's surgeon. Doc, would you kind of give us some background as to what's happened, Bobby's status, and maybe your outlook for his future?
Sure. I had the pleasure of meeting Bobby Berkey on June the 2nd, I guess. He had been transferred down after spending a week in a hospital in the northern part of the state near Syracuse, and complaining of progressive heart failure. He really had developed a disease, a disease we did not expect a 19-year-old otherwise healthy individual to have, which is the major ailment growing in this country today, and that's heart failure. As you know, one out of every two people watching this show is going to die from their heart. It's a reality of life. Unfortunately, in some people, though that ailment precedes when you normally expect it to occur, as it happened in Bobby's case. Now you have a 19-year-old fellow who otherwise has a normal life expectancy, all their other organs work fine, and you're watching them die in the hospital. And indeed, that's what we did until about 4 years ago. We just watched them die in the hospital. And it was because of that painful event that so much work was put into developing mechanical hearts. And as many people will remember, Barney Clark was a dentist in Utah who had an artificial heart implanted. And you can remember this overweight gentleman walking down the street with this huge entourage of healthcare professionals following him. And he didn't do very well. But out of that experience grew the development of the device you currently have, which is a titanium device, and a device which we were able to insert on the 4th of June. On that day, it was a Sunday. Bobby started to develop some of the signs of the last couple hours of heart failure. His kidneys weren't working, he was getting more short of breath, he had trouble eating. These are symptoms that you see as people are going to, so to speak, check out. They're not doing well, and the end is coming. It was at that moment that, and I remember it was, we were having a graduation picnic, and I was paged by Bobby's cardiologist, Dr. Mancini, who asked me to consider putting a mechanical device in him, and I think it was the best thing to do. Now, can you pause it for a second? We were faced with the option of letting Bobby go, which none of us wanted to do, and really wasn't an option, or putting a device like this in. And this is an older model of what Bobby had. Bobby has the newest version of this, which is not available across the country yet. But we're one of the trial centers for it, and we're lucky enough to have one available when he got sick. But it's very similar to this. It's made of titanium. You might ask yourself, what's so special about this device that you don't have problems with, for example, stroke? Well, the surface of this device is very rough. That's sort of counterintuitive. You would think a rough surface makes a clot, and the clot would fly off to the head, you'd have strokes. But all the old devices were made of very, very smooth material. And because they were smooth, it was felt the blood would slide over them, and nothing would ever stick. But in reality, what happens is there are little crevices, little areas where the blood swirls, little eddy currents. So the blood makes little bits of clot there, those clots fly off to the head, and you get strokes. So what this company is called a thermocardiosystem device, TCI for short. What this company did was they said, let's make a really rough surface. You can feel that. And that really rough surface allows the blood to stick, but it sticks so firmly it can't come off again. So when the following cells go through, they don't see the surface of the device. They see your own blood cells stuck to something. They don't know what that something is. So they don't stick anymore. And so that's why this device has made such a huge breakthrough, because you don't have to put in any blood thinners. Now, there's some valves in this device, and it fits into the heart like this. And I remember, although we always think of the heart as being in the middle of the body, it's actually over to the left a little bit. And it fits into the device underneath the rib margin, and there's a graft that comes from here and hooks up to the major tube leaving the body. The whole device is inside underneath the skin. The only thing coming out is a little cable, which you can see Bobby's cable is a lot smaller than this cable. It's a newer model. And with this small cable, it's relatively light. He must carry these batteries around, but I think they're practical, and they're certainly much better than the alternative. In any case, his post-operative recovery was very good, and we haven't, thank goodness, had any major problems so far. They are still new devices, and we're still learning a lot. And Bobby is breaking new ground because, especially putting these devices in the younger patients, is a novelty. In addition to having people do so well and being able to go home so quickly is also new territory for us. But I think it demonstrates the resilience that he's built up. I always said it was better to grow up outdoors, out in the countryside. It's been a pleasure knowing him and his family, and I think that he will do very well. I'm waiting for a heart for him now, and although we have a long list here, we had busiest program last year in the country, and I'm optimistic that we'll find a heart for him within a month or two, maybe a little bit longer. And once he gets that heart, at 5 years, I think he's got a superb chance of being a healthy, normal